It has been a long time since we did a purely educational drive here on this channel for all you new people and maybe some veterans who just don't know all the little tips and tricks quite yet. So what we're gonna do on this live drive here, I said live, but it's not live. I mean, I am driving right now, but you're not watching it live, is we are going to cover what's on the screen, what you're looking at, why you're looking at it, how you change it, what's going on up here, how do you turn on autopilot, and all the good stuff. So let's get into it. But first off, because I'm trying to be as safe as possible, I'm gonna turn on autopilot to control the car so we can focus over here on what's going on the screen. So to do that, you'll notice there are two different gear stalks, one on either side of the steering wheel. Well, you have one gear stalk and one indicator stalk. What you're gonna do on the gear stalk is you're gonna push it down twice. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm nervous. What if I push in the wrong direction? What if I forget and it doesn't go down? Watch what happens if I put it into park. Nothing. Hear that noise? Nothing happens if you go up into park. If you press the button here, look it, put it in park, nothing happens, okay? You will not hurt the car if you accidentally do the wrong thing. So you just go down twice. Okay, and the reason why I could do that is because this steering wheel here, I'll show you, this steering wheel was gray. If you don't see any steering wheel, that means it's not capable of being put in autopilot. And so why? Why is that? Why would it not be capable of autopilot? Well, because like right here, for example, the white line disappeared. If you're going through an intersection like that where both lines are gone off the sides of the road, then it will not let you put in autopilot. It has to start with the car being able to see at least one of the lines on either side of the road. So right now the gray steering wheel is there, so I can now do it. There we go, on. You notice the first time I pressed it, this went blue. The second time I pressed it, that went blue. Wow, tongue twister. The first time I pushed it, that went blue. The second time, that went blue. Why did that happen? So the first time down is what's called adaptive cruise control, okay? Adaptive meaning that you are gonna mirror the car in front of you at a certain set distance. All right, I'm back. So what we got going on then again, one down is adaptive cruise control. So again, if I didn't press it that second time and it was just adaptive cruise control, then it's going to keep my speed and keep me from hitting the car in front of me. It's gonna stop, you know, if the car stops, all that, and it'll go again. But it won't steer for me. So it's basically everything except the steering. When this is on, when the blue circle is on, the blue steering wheel is lit up, that is saying then that it's going to do auto steer. That's auto steer you're looking at, or autopilot. And autopilot is kind of a generic term, but really what that means, if you don't have the full stop drive package, it's just auto steer for you. And so for me, I had the full stop drive package. So that means navigating autopilot, everything the car is capable of doing now, it can do. So right now, what we're looking at is it says stopping for traffic control. So this is one of the warnings you'll get when you're on autopilot and the car is driving. Just letting you know it's going to be stopping in 100 feet for the light. And so you kind of just have an idea of why it's doing what it's doing in case you couldn't look out the windshield and find out. Top left, you have the speedometer. Next to that, you have the max. And again, we talked about the max a little bit already, but that's just telling autopilot the max speed it can go. Right now, it is set to, what is that? Double press to dismiss. Right now, it is set to 5 over the speed limit. So anytime I put it on, it's gonna automatically come up here and set it at 5 over. And the way you control this is on autopilot here. If you go down a little bit, you can set the offset speed. I got it at 5 miles per hour, so it's automatically going to move it up to 5 miles per hour. You could also say move it up a percentage. I don't know why you would use a percentage, but that's, I guess, what people do. I don't understand really that. The percentage doesn't mean anything to me, so I like that number. But that's how you change that. And you'll notice that when you have something up right here, that you have this new thing here now where it actually shows you on the screen where it is. Now you can see this blue here. That's because it wants me to touch the steering wheel and apply some pressure, letting it know I'm in the car. I'm gonna, instead of touching the steering wheel, I'm gonna roll this ball right here, and that just lets it know then that it's okay. It's the same thing as putting some pressure on the wheel. It's a safer way of doing it rather than actually coming and trying to jerk the wheel or something to get pressure. Just spin this ball right quick and it gets the job done just the same. So you'll see on the screen here, you got 2 blue lines, and on these blue lines, when you got 2 of them there, that means that again, it is reading the road lines, and its job is to keep you between both of them. And it does a very good job at that. And if you see one line, as you'll see when I turn onto the freeway up here, that means that I have a destination in which I do, and that it is going to navigate me while I am using autopilot. So just think of this as regular autopilot, meaning just auto steer. And then when you add a destination into the navigation, now it's navigate on autopilot because you're now navigating while on autopilot. So here comes a yellow light. We're going to be forced to stop here. And one thing you'll notice is that the car will not actually turn on to the freeway here. It's going to go straight through. It's going to do that because we don't have the city driving capability right now. Also, you'll notice these lines jumping all over the place. That happens when the car can't see the road lines. So it's trying to find them ahead of me, because up in the intersection in front of me there's nothing. There's just blank. And so it can't. It doesn't know what to do. So it's searching for them, and we're going to see what happens here when the light turns green. Like even right now, if I pulled this down, okay, or pushed it up, that turns off autopilot, but I pull it back down. Oh shoot, it's not going to let me do it. It was a bad time to give you this example. But even if I had tapped the accelerator and told the car to go through, it still wouldn't have, because even though I acknowledged it, the light is still red, and you can see it sees the red, so it's still not going to go through, even though I'm telling it to go through an autopilot. Obviously, I can override that and press on the accelerator and force it to go through, but it's not recommended from what I hear. One other thing to look at right here is you see that it says hold right here. Now I have my settings set to where when the car comes down with the generator braking to a stop, that it actually stops, it doesn't roll. And then when it does stop, that it locks in. So this is the same thing as having like the parking brake, well, close to having the parking brake on, or having come to a stop and firmly press the brake. That makes it go. So, okay, here we go. I'm going through the intersection. You can see, like I was saying earlier, right now, I can't put an autopilot. But now when I see these two lines here that you can see, now I can actually do it, and it can go through. But we are going to have to make a change here, because we are going to need to change and make this merge onto this next road here, and that's right here. So I'm going to take it over here, and I do that by just simply pressing the brake, or by flicking up the gear stock here to turn off autopilot, or just by grabbing the steering wheel. But I will warn you, be careful if you're going to do that, because it's still going to be accelerating. So you may think, oh, I turned it off. You turned off auto steer, not the adaptive cruise control. So be careful of that. You're now seeing the one blue line here, meaning that I am navigating an autopilot. You'll only see this if you have the full self-drive package, and I do, so that's why you're seeing that. The car is gray ahead of us, versus dark gray versus light gray, because we are following them and we are tracking them. The car is honed in on that car, and we are now set on that car. Now, all your new indicators are all along the line here. All your alerts and warnings and everything are all now down along this line. You have your parking, reverse, and drive right there on this side. And right down here, you can see, if you look closely, the low tire pressure gauge warning down here, because my tire pressures are low, which brings us to another example. If I want to see what my tire pressures are, all I have to do is swipe to the right or left, and it'll bring up my cards. So mine are set at 37 PSI, which I think is actually pretty low. And I know it's saying that one's low, but they're all the same. I know it's kind of weird. I don't know exactly what the tire pressure is supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be somewhere around 42, but you know, whatever. So if you swipe back the other direction, you're going to get your mileage odometer. And if you swipe up, you're going to have the different ones that you've had over this time period here. So the very bottom one is the lifetime one that I have. And I set this basically when I got the car. You can see it's the exact same as the actual odometer, which is the very bottom. You can mess these up. You can tap this button right here. You can rename it. You can reset it. And you can do that with multiple ones. I got this one for business trips. So on my last, oftentimes when I'm going on a trip like I did today, I'll reset that, and that's what I use for my mileage write-offs to report to my accountant. Then since last charge is a great one, because this is also can be used lots of times, because I always plug in when I'm at home, and I don't have different charging rates at different times of day where it's cheaper. So I always just have my car set to just charge. Wow, that M5 BMW sounded sick when it accelerated. Too bad I can still beat him in a race. Anyway, then swipe back this way and the cards disappear. Down along the bottom, what you have down here is your car settings, which is the car. You have the music, which is all your music stuff, which again, you slide up to get access to all of that. And I have most of mine turned off because I don't have them. I don't pay for them. So you can go into your settings, sources, and you can turn off whichever ones down here you don't want available on your screen, which is great, because we never really had any screen manipulation that we could do before, but now we can, which is really fun. So I have my radio and phone on and my tune on, but karaoke is off, Spotify is off, and streaming is off because I don't pay for the data package anymore. I just haven't found a reason to. As long as my phone is streamed to it through Pandora or whatever, then I'm good to go. You got other options in here. Immersive sound, obviously have that as high. I have the premium package, so I have immersive sound in here, which just sounds extremely good. You got your balance, so it's really nice working with your balance. You can just kind of take your finger and move it all around wherever you want the center of the music to be, which is just, it's pretty nice to kind of leave it here in the middle. Then you have your tone adjustments right there, but you get to the settings down here. Any music, again, this search thing is for if you have the data. I don't have any web to my car right now, so that doesn't do any good. And then you just have your other types of music and everything down there. But one thing that you must do if you're a CfTesla fan, you must come in here and you must press and hold until yours says ahoy ahoy right here on your phone. It's a little Easter egg that's inside the Tesla, and most people have already done that, but that's something you need to do. So, you know, down here, when it comes to your windshield wipers and your camera, these all used to be up here on the screen. They've since cleaned this all up and made it, you know, taken that off the screen, so now the road runs all the way to the bottom, which I've grown to like. But now they're down here, so if you want to see your backup camera, you can either press it, or you can say from a voice command, you can say, show me my backup camera, and it'll pull it up again, or you can just tap it right here, whichever you find the most convenient. You can also get to your windshield wipers by pressing right here, and to turn on your settings, you would turn it on first, then you got your settings down there. But you can also do that by pressing over here on the indicator stalk. There's a button on it, just like on this side there's the park. On this side, that thing turns on the windshield wipers. You press it once, it just turns them on once. When it comes to your seat settings, you see there they have them on both sides of the temperature things. So to turn on your seats, you just press right there. That's one way to do it. You press it 4 times to go away. When you press it 1 time, they're on full heat, and they happen very quickly in this car, by the way. When it comes to the temperature, right now you see I only have 1 temperature, but if I press on it, then you see it says sync. If I press that, you'll see it then splits apart, and now there's 2 of them. So I love how it kind of keeps the screen clean as much as possible, and it just really is nice to have those 2 balanced there. And then no matter which one you click on, whether it's that one or this one, you can resync them from any spot and they come back together. When you click on this itself directly, the thermostat, then you come up to your actual way of changing around where your vents are blowing and all that. With Tesla, it's really simple because you just put your finger on there and you just drag wherever you want it to go. And you see the little slider bars moving along as you're moving it. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a fun little way to do it. You've got this set right here for internal circulation, AC. You got auto. If I want to put it on auto and not have the manual controls, it works really well for that. And then obviously where they're going at right here, whether it's at your head, your feet. Again, that's off auto, but auto takes care of all that for you. And then you got another option down here for your seat. So you can see that the passenger seat is on. I didn't know that. And now it's off. And so it's just a real great way to do it. And they did add this all off button, which is nice. So if I did have all the seats on, in the premium package, you do have heated seats in the back. You just press all off and it stays, well, they all go off. Also, if we were parked right now, we would have options right here for pet mode or camping mode, and they would appear up here, actually on this screen, where you could then turn those on and off. Press it again to have it go away. And then over here is where you have your defrost. This is going to be your front, your rear view defrost, and these are going to be your mirrors that are on defrost. This right here is your volume. Tap it to turn it on. All the way to the left is obviously all the way off, but you can, with any of these, you can press, and you like, oh, I'm going off the screen here. You can come up here and slide it around. You can drag it around right here. You know, you can do whatever. And that goes for all of these. Whether you're adjusting the temperature, you can come up here. You're not stuck to the screen. Tesla was very good about finding ways when they knew that, you know, this is going to be, you know, a car that a lot of its stuff involves the screen. They got very good at making it so you can do things with your hands off of the screen. So by just pressing it and putting your eyes back on the road, you can adjust it. But you can also do most of this stuff over voice commands right here by just pressing the button, talking, and having to do it as well. So another little nice tip there. So the car is going back and forth here. It can't get over right now because there's this car right there, and it's not liking where it's at. So the car, when I put on my blinker, because this is what we do here in Seattle, it accelerated, and you can see it's red. That means it knows it's blocking me. So, I mean, that's one of the downsides to, you know, living in a very progressive, fast-paced area like we do in Seattle, or I imagine California, other places. Ooh, that was beautiful. Look at that. Jumped right in there and said, screw you, guy. See, that car was close behind me. In fact, it jumped over. Look at him right there. He gave me the eye. Dude, you accelerated when I put my blinker on. That's what happens. And look, it's bouncing back again. And now it's in front of that guy. Oh my gosh. See, autopilot, it gets a little bit weird sometimes. It's pretty good at getting in and out of places, but in other times, it does it when it just doesn't need to. Because we kind of, you know, cut that guy off. Of course, he set that up, but still cut him off. And then right when he passes, got back out again. So it's kind of funny. Anyway, another thing you can do too on here is if you swipe like this, it does tell you what your watt hours per mile you're burning is, which is kind of fun to see sometimes. Kilowatt hours. It's all right there on your odometer, just in case you're wondering where that is. And then again, swipe away to get rid of. Up top here, you have your battery percentage. I keep mine on percentage because I understand what 50% means. I don't very often know what 150 miles means, because if I go up a hill, it changes. If I go down a hill, it changes. And the percentage just changes a lot less. If you click on it, it brings up your battery power controls there. But there's another spot you can really look at your energy, which is kind of fun. And that's by going into this up arrow right here. You press on this, go to charging, or not charging, sorry. Go to energy, right there. And now we can see what our actual consumption is. And one thing happening right here coming up is we see you got a turn coming here. The car is good at knowing that both roads turn, and it's gonna keep me in the far left lane to make this turn safely here. And you can see it's doing this all for me to merge. Again, that's part of the full style driving package. But you can mess around with all this. If you're on a new trip, you can click right there on the trip and you can see that I got a destination in here, which is what the trip is actually talking about. You can zoom in and out here like that. I like being zoomed in to see a little clearer details. And what this is showing me is the remaining energy in the battery. So obviously right here, you can see that it goes up right there because we were in a downhill mode and it actually put the percentage higher. Right now, it's telling me that I'm at 52% battery and they're predicting me to be at 48%, which is actually lower than my original prediction. So it's off a little bit. And then down here, it says I have 13 miles to my destination. So it gives you a lot of data on this screen. I really like that they've added this on here to where I can really track how this car is managing the data and how I am driving. And if I were to take off autopilot, you're gonna see this get a lot worse because when you're driving yourself, you put a lot more weight and adjustment to the accelerator on, off, which, you know, that's gonna take off more energy than someone who just kind of has a constant. Also in here, you have your calendar, you have your camera. We already talked about that. That's another way of looking at it. You're charging your web, which I can't do, your entertainment and toy box. And after a period of time, it goes away. So I didn't tap the screen, so it just sort of disappeared. Up here, you have the lock. And this lock, what it does is it's just kind of your lock for your car, okay? There's no actual locks in the door that you can flick up or flick down. So how you lock your car is with this right there, and you just simply tap it. You have your temperature gauge up here, which I have mine set to Fahrenheit. And if you want to change that, you go to display right here, and you can go down here into display, and you can change Celsius or Fahrenheit, tire pressure, bar or PSI, kilometers, meters, or miles, and you've got 24-hour clock or 12-hour clock, and then obviously energy and distance, which is what this is, and it's all right in there. They do give you quick controls right here, which are your light settings, your adjustments for mirrors and all that, but we're not gonna go too much into the settings right now. But I do recommend leaving this on auto so that it adjusts for nighttime, and it will automatically bring this down like this as it needs to when it starts getting a little bit later in the day. And it just, I don't know, it just works really well. We already covered the speed limit, we covered the max, we covered the on autopilot or not, and then over here you have the speed limit sign. And so this is where it gets a little bit confusing because it's when they first changed the whole interface here, I would look down and I would see this. And I would think, okay, I'm going 60 miles an hour. But that's not it. That's just the actual speed limit. And it says it on it, but your eye, when it flicks over real quick, you don't want to have to like initially read something. And this is a little bit bigger, but I think you've heard it from everyone already that if you could just get this bigger, it would be ideal, full size. It would just be really nice. So anyway, those are some quick tips and things that I do around the screen. Just to give you a quick overview of what's happening there. I will add in real quick what the rest of these are up here. You have Bluetooth here, and these are selectable. So if you click on Bluetooth, these are going to be your phone settings to sync your messages, chime your messages, things like that. Add a device, all that's going to happen right here. You have your Wi-Fi settings right there if you're going to sync it to a hotspot of your car from your phone, or if you're at home. And then you have your notifications there, which is really nice that they have all your previous notifications in here. Like it's telling me my air pressure is below the recommended tire pressure. And if I click on it, it's gonna take me into your manual here. And it doesn't, I was reading through this the other day, and it doesn't actually tell me what my actual recommended tire pressure is. So I gotta kind of read through this a little bit more. But it does say that it says, has detected that the air pressure in one or more of your tires is at least 20% lower than the recommended cold tire pressure. So I do know that it's at least 20% low. So that is interesting. So I definitely need to put it back up over 40 for both of them. And that's gonna really help with my efficiency as well in the car. And then you have your profiles here. So if I wanted to change my profile to my wife or whatever, if she wanted to, it would change all the settings in the car from presets to everything. So that, again, that's just a real quick analysis there of what's going on. If you guys have any more questions or things you want me to show you on the channel, things you want me to go over, put it down in the description below. But until next time, hit that like button, join the family, hit the subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next video.